Jeremy needs your help. Solve the mystery. Time is running out. Safety in numbers.
Welcome everyone to perhaps my favorite video I've ever made. You see, being the humble YouTube boy, there's always been one thing that I've always wanted. That being my very own FNAF. FNAF, or Five Nights at Freddy's, is an indie horror franchise and yada yada yada. I don't have time to explain almost 9 years of lore. What I can explain is I've always wanted a franchise that I can either go and solve or show people how it was solved. Specifically with ARGs. ARGs, or alternate reality games, are typically puzzles and mysteries that tie back into some type of media. But those same puzzles and mysteries extend outside of the media it's from. FNAF is a great example of this. To solve its story, you have to go through games, websites, source code, books, and more to solve these intricate puzzles. But alas, I am trapped in my Webtoon prison. And while there are many horror mystery series that are great, special shout out to Everything is Fine, most stay within their own bounds. Well, most do. There is a horror mystery series that delivers on everything that I was dreaming of. A series that has been weirdly under the radar. A series that's I'm actually not gonna introduce. Because there's no better person to introduce you to this series than the person who introduced me to this series. My good friend, fellow Webtoon ambassador, and guest for today, PJ Scribbles.
Hello. It's a pleasure being here. If you haven't heard of Stag Town yet, but you're a big fan of works from Junji Ito, you'll adore this series. It's got everything from spooky small town vibes, creepy children, and of course, cameras who will watch your every move. So it's definitely a bit of a party when you visit the world of Stag Town, to say the least.
This series is honestly really good. And that's coming from someone whose least favorite genre is horror. It does a good job at doing the more unnerving aspect of horror, compared to the more gory side that I'm not really a fan of. But we're not here to gush over the series, we're here for something that's never been done on Webtoon before, an ARG. But little did I know that I was going down a path that would break me multiple times.
Oh boy.
We love our numbers that totally mean something.
I don't know where I'm even looking. I just want step 1. Are you having fun?
I don't know.
Oh, I love counting. Where does the ARG start?
Even the translation is wrong.
Wait.
It's both O and Y. You can't do that to me. Translate the key into letters. What key? Let's be real. What the heck is a Visionaire cipher? Also, sometimes the code will change. Which is great. I love that. I love the code changing. Are we sure?
It is funny that I thought that looking at the solutions would have spoiled things. That's not what happened at all.
Truly not, no. Now, the series is no stranger to mystery. That's kind of the whole point of the series. What's going on in Stag Town? But I mean more mysteries that we can solve. The first taste we get of this is in episode 13 and 15, after Frankie, our main character, manages to get her hands on some of Jeremy's journals. We get this. It's a numbered code, obviously. A staple in any ARG mystery. Simple, right? We just replace the numbers with the letters and spell out the completed passages.
Unfortunately, it's not that simple. Last time I checked, there were only 26 letters in the alphabet. In a normal A025 cipher, A is 0 and Z is 25. But in the codes that we are given, there are numbers larger than 26. The highest value usually will end up being around 33. So unless there are 8 more letters we don't know about, we have some problems. We also can't brush these higher values in our code as punctuation either, since we already see plenty of those written in the journal. Instead, we find our solution a little later in the chapter. In Jeremy's junk, there's a random 1970 fair pin that's not even talked about, but given its own panel. So naturally, in a classic ARG style, this coin means a lot to us as puzzle solvers. We'll take our code and line it up with 1970 repeated over and over until we reach the end of the coded message. Once we subtract everything from each line, we'll get some usable numbers to line up with our numbers to letters cipher. There are some cases where 0 represents spaces between words, but it's pretty clear when that happens.
Now, even translating it like this isn't without its flaws. Some numbers are obscured, some specific parts of the translation don't line up even when the words around them do. There is no perfect translation of Jeremy's journal. There will be some mistakes, some whatever, but here's what we're able to pick up from it. Today I tried going through the tunnel, but I found it impossible. I borrowed Felix's car and told him I had some books to pick up at the mall. I wanted to see what would happen now that I have the arc. There was something in the tunnel when I drove through. It moved like a thing you can't quite focus on. I tried to drive around it and couldn't. An hour later, I came in the grocery store buying dinner. I got turned around somehow. Nova, right? Does she even know I'm alive? We've talked in the halls sometimes, but that's it. I feel like she's one of the few people left who are nice to me. She listens to my ideas, plus she has pretty eyes. I kind of forgot what to say when she looks at me. This is actually really cool, but it doesn't lead us anywhere. We get some more lore specifically about Jeremy, and it's not the only time this happens. In episode 15, a flashback sequence occurs with Jeremy and Frankie. The numbers this time are pretty clearly between the panels, and we know it's not the normal A0Z25 cipher, and we also know it's not the 1970 key, because there's a 38. Even subtracting 38 by 9 doesn't give us an actual usable number.
Which means we need a new key. However, this time we don't exactly get a dedicated panel that sticks out to us. Instead, our next code is a little bit of a blink and you'll miss it moment. Rewinding to the beginning of the chapter, one of Frankie's text bubbles stands out. Bills. It doesn't stand out because she needs to pay bills, the true horror of being an adult. It's actually a horrific red color. That means it'll be very important for the next sequence of coded messages. The series uses black text in just about everything, so this little detail stands out in a big way. Since we're using numbers and unfortunately can't subtract with the alphabet, we'll have to turn our key bills into numbers that can be used to solve the message. Making the word bills into a numbered code, we get 1, 8, 11, 11, 18. If we line these numbers up just like we did, we get the message, this is just a memory, try to remember. You aren't supposed to be here. It's in front of you now. Safety in numbers. They can't read numbers.
While these don't directly link to the ARG, we bring them up for two reasons. First, we spent hours on this and we need you to feel proud of us, but mainly because it shows that little details in this series matter a whole lot. The smallest little thing could lead to something major. So rewind back to episode 3. When entering Jeremy's apartment, we're given a lot of different shots of his room, but one panel stands out. A computer is open and a website is pulled up. Truth about the Bigelow at bigelow.com. The website kinda stands out. It's not in the usual art style at all, and that's the point. In case you've forgotten about the 1970 key, giving something its own panel is very important, and it's wildly important here because bigelow.com is an actual real website that you can look up right now. Unfortunately, if you want to start the ARG on your own, then you're out of luck. The site has been corrupted. We see the truth about the Bigelow header that you saw in the webtoon, but all the homepage updates are corrupted messages. Reading,
"Not your home. Stay out. We will be absolved. We can hear you. There is no safety. Forget. This does not matter. Almost finished. He was not suitable. Another one will be ready. Forget this. It will all be over soon."
Now, we have to give huge props to the Stag Town Discord, not only for solving these really tricky puzzles, but also managing to keep a lot of everything saved. It's filled with so many amazing and smart people that have solved these puzzles that would be wildly too hard for us to do by ourselves.
and while we are incredibly thankful to Discord, I do have to throw them under the bus just a little bit. All the information stretches between like 6 Google Docs, a Google Slide, and a Prezi, and all the problems and solutions are usually on them, but the process to get the solution isn't usually explained.
I swear, part of solving the ARG is solving whatever the people already solved and then didn't explain to us. But I digress. This blog is where we start. Not right now, but a couple months back when the series started, it was just another conspiracy theorist blog about the Bigelow. There was also another page, known only as the Black Hole Project. Trying to open it only asks us for a password that we don't have. That was until episode 5, where Jeremy gets set on fire and falls off a bridge. This episode was released on March 22nd of 2021. The reason this is important is because 2 days later, on March 24th, 2021, the blog updates with a 48-hour check-in mist, some seemingly random numbers, and ending with "We are not all yet together, safety in numbers," and some more numbers. Then the 2-week check-in is missed, and then another week later, the final check-in is missed, with a countdown being added. A countdown for 46 days and 30 minutes, and yet again, checking back in gives us an automatic message with a bunch of numbers and the word MAC in brackets, with some other numbers as well. Now, this is a coded message, obviously, but none of the ciphers we've tried before work on this. But what is that MAC? MacBook? Mac and cheese? Message authentication code? None of the above, actually. I was really hoping it was mac and cheese. But it actually stands for Mexican Army Cipher, a circular type code that goes all the way up to 99, meaning a letter could be multiple numbers, but it's not as simple as a plug a number in, get a number out. Instead, the numbers in the brackets are also a key. These numbers, 10, 46, 53, and 89, are instead shifted onto A, then the numbers which we plug in gives us nonsense.
Nonsense that we can use. As when we shift those letters by 5, it gives us 844-258-9439. Kind of. You see, the first and the last 4 are technically Eeyore with an E instead of an F, but if we change those to 4, it gives us an actual phone number that we can actually call, leaving an actual voice message.
This is recording number 31. This is Jeremy. I'm recording this just in case of the worst scenario. I have things set up right now where if I miss a check-in on my blog for a few weeks, an automated info drop will happen, hopefully in several different formats. This message is a test to see if anyone is out there listening outside of the town. So if you're hearing this, I need to pass on what I know and what I don't to someone, anyone out there who might listen, and hopefully someone smarter than me who can figure this out. There should be a countdown already started on the blog. I don't know when or if anyone will be watching at that point, except for them. I know they're watching the blog, so an easy message isn't going to work. So, you've got 28 days to solve 4 different codes that will appear there. Anyone who can't do this probably isn't going to be much help. But if you do get them, it will tell you what to do next. Please do this before time runs out. Because if you do get this message, they might not have a lot of time left. Thanks.
And the game is on page 4. Oh boy. The number tells us that Jeremy's blog will drop 4 different codes and we have 28 days to solve it. The first message we receive is actually pretty simple. It's a maze with a random X's scattered around it and a coded message up top. Luckily for us, the coded message isn't what we're looking at. Instead, by adjusting the contrast, we get the first coded message: send email to. Part 1 of 4 down. It does not get easier.
May 12th is when we get our next coded message, another image, a real life one though, with some junk like a broken plate, some glass bottles, and some coins. We'll get back to those coins later. Like the first puzzle showed us, the answer we're looking for isn't blatantly in front of us. In fact, it's barely in the photo. We're gonna be looking a little deeper than that. We're looking into the picture's properties. Opening it with a software like a text editor gives the bunch of normal nonsense that doing that would, because it's an image. However, there is something strange at the beginning. We have our normal nonsense words, but something in there actually stands out. That being 1524 and 3.12345-J. Hold on to that. We're gonna need it for later.
Our next coded message comes in on May 21st. A long rectangle full of letters with a triangle pointed upwards and some circles bordering around that triangle with an open eye and a closed eye up top. The solution is actually pretty simple. You simply cut those white circles out and you fold it downwards, lining up those circles with letters, reading the letters that appear in the circles, and as you read them, you keep on shifting the triangle down. Reading it gives us 15243 Jeremy at Gmail MSG to follow. If 15243 sounds familiar to you, then good news, you remember things that happened a minute ago, as it's the metadata from our previous code. Now 15243 Jeremy at gmail.com isn't the email we're looking for. Going back to the previous image, but specifically to those infuriating coins, 15243 refers to the 5 different groups of coins: 3, 25, 20, 5, and 15, based on the amount the coins are worth. Next, we base the order off that 15243 thing. The first number is 3 from the first slot, then the 5th slot is 15, then the second 25, then the 4th 5, and the 3rd 20, giving us 3, 15, 25, 5, 20 Jeremy at gmail.com. But before we get to our next clue, we get one last update to the blog. Switch 1 active, 72-hour warning, and 1 direction, 2 amount and order, 3 name, 4 message.
We got our direction with the first image send email too. We got the amount and order with the second one, with the coins, and the name with the third, Jeremy. All that's left is the message, and that's where our last code comes in. It's actually in 2 parts. The first part is 5 long strips of letters, and the second is 8 5-letter nonsense words. The solution is actually really clever. You create a type of cryptex with the long strips of letters. Next, you spell out the top word SESZD, and when we line it up like so, directly underneath it, we get message 2. But it's not just spelling out the word and looking underneath it. Spelling out HDPUD only gives us YULO? Or checking other ways gives us squirm. Yeah, those are words. That's because we're not looking right next to the coded word. We're looking up to 3 letters up or down based on the coded message. So with our second code, HDPUD, instead of looking right next to the coded word in our cryptex, we look 2 letters away. Going 2 letters up from HDPUD gives us send, message to send. Continuing with the order established with the third code, UMKC, going 3 down gives us WEARE. Meanwhile, the 4th code, NDEDD, going up 2 gives us here. The 5th code, DGKWL, gives us CONFI. When going up 1, the 6th code, IPKUC, gives RMEDW. The 7th, MPETP, gives HENRE. And the last code, DSYDX, gives CIEVE. Putting it all together, we get message to send. We are here. Confirmed when received.
By the way, I just gotta get this off my chest. Both the Google Doc and the Discord say message to send, we are here, confirm when received, but that's actually just wrong. They cut off the ED from confirmed. Sure, it makes more sense to say confirm when received than confirmed when received, and also my Google Doc doesn't hate saying confirm when received, but like I was stressed out for 20 straight minutes wondering why it didn't line up. Anyways, we have our message and we have our email. Unfortunately, we're a little late to the party. However, the brave Discord user Camera Shy, I feel like we have a lot in common, sent the message in to the email, sending "We are here, confirm when received" to 315255520 Jeremy at gmail.com. Getting a response back, message confirm. Deadman switch active at timer end. Stand by further instructions. Thank you. I'm not alone.
And when that 72-hour countdown ends, we get one last blog update with, yeah, not a lot. The switch being primed and activated, a message being sent, skvid drop, whatever that means, a string of numbers and letters ending with good luck. But if that was that, it would be a little anticlimactic. There's one last part of the blog that has yet to be solved, that being the black hole project. That random string of letters we got, turns out that's exactly what we need to open the password-protected black hole project. Opening it up, of course, gives us a coded language, but this one is as simple as shifting the text by 3.
Now, we won't read this entire thing, mainly because it is long. And if you want to, I'll put the entire message down below. But it's basically Jeremy's diary, explaining his fascination with the unknown and unexplained, bringing him to Stag Town, stumbling into someone called Nova in their research. However, something went very wrong, and if you're reading this, it is the worst case scenario, but you can still help. That you could be the one to help Jeremy. Ending with, remember that there is always safety in numbers, especially when you work together. And that is the end of the Stag Town ARG. Kinda. It's actually only the first half of the ARG, what I'm referring to as the Bigelow ARG. But there's a whole nother ARG involving Operation ARC. Something we cannot get into today, but something we will get into eventually. But not here, on my dear friend PJ's channel. So make sure you go and subscribe to her over there to prepare for whenever this next part comes out. This has been an amazing experience. An infuriating one for sure, but amazing nonetheless. Something I never thought I would be able to experience, much less create content about. So a big thanks to not only the author Punko for creating an amazing series and a wonderfully tricky ARG, but also the hardworking Discord, who without their work, we would not have come anywhere close. Any last words, PJ? We are running a little long by now.
I'm tired. I've had so much fun, and I also feel like number codes have been burned into the backs of my eyelids, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you for having me.
But like always, thank you for watching. I hope you check out PJ's channel and go read Stag Town before it gets on Daily Pass. Just remember that there is always safety in numbers.